Hi, my name is Emma McGregor,
And I'm Sophia Payne,
and our project explores the relationship between movies and the economy.
and these are our trends and insights.
Sophia and I are both huge movie buffs who have noticed that our moods influence what genres of movies we want to watch. This got us wondering, is this a greater sociological phenomenon that could be reflected by economic trends? We hypothesized that during poor economic times, people would be more inclined to watch more escapist type of genres, such as comedies and romances. Conversely, when the economy is strong, people might be more inclined to watch darker, grittier movies, such as crime, thrillers, and adventure. We were also interested in how certain genres have grown in general over time. For instance, have action movies increased over time due to more special effects? To answer these questions, we decided to collect economic and movie genre data from the United States over the last 70 years.
Here's a brief overview of our data collection process. For our Excel scraping, we initially wanted to analyze information for the past 100 years. However, we quickly realized there was a lack of strong government records regarding economic conditions. As such, we refocused to begin all of our data collection from the year 1947 onwards. To account for the multitude of economic data, we scraped 42 various documents regarding information such as GDP, unemployment, and poverty rates. To accomplish this, we wrote 8 cleaning functions and reading functions, along with 8 compilation functions. We finally wrote these data frames to an economics data sheet. Web scraping. For our web scraping, we had 2 HTML web scrapes for a total of 150 websites. We had 6 compiling, handling, and cleaning functions, and we wrote each data frame to a unique sheet name. The information gathered from our HTML scrapes included information such as year's most popular ratings and revenue streams, which we put into Blockbuster Dictionary. We also created a dictionary called Great Movie Dick, which mapped each year to its most critically acclaimed movie titles. We then combined this information with genres produced by our IMDb API. Here is our main economic data file, created from the data of the Excel files we scraped. Listed below are the column names of the data frame, which describe all the economic data we collected. As you can see, there are missing values from the comprehensive data file we created. This is due to some years having missing data, but don't worry, this will be handled in the future.
Before we get into our insights, I wanted to introduce a few art installations. Here we have all of that economic data put into a line graph. This it's incredibly messy, so it's not an actual visualization. However, we found it very interesting just to demonstrate how much goes into collecting economic data. This next image is an interesting stacked bar chart which shows the top 7 most popular genres from the last 70 or so years, these being crime, thriller, action, romance, drama, adventure, comedy. So this one, it's also very difficult to read, but it's interesting in case you want to take the time to just really look into which genres found most popularity in what year.
These box plots are representations of just a few of our columns from our economic spreadsheet. We wanted to show the distribution of our columns into quartiles to demonstrate the variation in economic data. As you will soon see, these economic data quartiles were very important to our project.
For Insight 1, we created a data frame replacing row values with the number of the quartile for the column of that value, effectively standardizing the economics data frame to later take an accurate average of the economic state of a given year. We then created a function returning the year that each of the 7 most popular genres that had the highest audience rating coupled with economic rating. Here is our Visual 1 code, which included breaking it up into the quartiles. So here's our Visual 1. We initially took a scatter plot that took those 7 top genres and averaged them around, and then from those we noted the most interesting ones for their revelation into sociological impacts, we thought. Like comedy would be especially revealing, so would romance. So, as you can see here, drama and crime peaked in audience rating during poor economic years. This implies that gritty dark films resonate highly with the audience during tough economic times. Perhaps it is because people emotionally relate to the struggles of a protagonist when they themselves are having a difficult time. Adventure and comedy both rated highest when the economy was the most stable. We decided to specially spotlight comedies. So perhaps audiences enjoy genres that reflect their own higher morale and confidence in their economic future. It is noteworthy that both genres, comedies and adventures, peaked during times when the economy and America's general atmosphere were more positive, such as right after World War II and coming out of the Great Depression. However, we'd also like to note that this does not necessarily refute our hypothesis, as this relates to what movies audience enjoyed more, not what genres they were more interested in initially viewing. However, this is still an interesting additional insight.
Insight 2 compares the most popular genres with economic outlook. In order to do this, we created a function that averaged the yearly economic data into decades and then compared this aggregate economic trend to the sum 7 most significant genres across each decade and returned the 2 most significant genres of the best and worst decade economically. We determined which movies were most significant by comparing revenue, audience ratings, critic ratings, and cinema classic status. These are considered must-watch films. We then collected genre information from this great movie list. Drama was the most significant genre in general, maintaining a high cultural significance. Great romance movies were filmed in the decade having the best economy. The greatest movies of the decade with the worst economy were comedies, which is not what we expected based on Insight 1, which found that comedies were more highly rated in good economic climates. This implies that escapist, lighthearted films of significance are created during tough times, which could indicate that filmmakers are more inspired by escapism during these times. Insight 3 examines the relationship between child poverty rates and family movie prevalence. For this insight, we compared the child poverty rate and the number of blockbuster family movies. To do so, we grouped the data frame containing the child poverty rate data by number of blockbuster family movies to get the average child poverty rate compared to family movie blockbusters. Family movies are less popular when the child poverty rate is high. This makes sense, as a child in poverty implies the parent is also impoverished, meaning there are less family funds to do activities such as take your kid to the movie theater. Note that although child poverty rate does not seem to fluctuate largely between the number of family movies, small changes in the child poverty rate are very significant, as this economic indicator is very stable. This stability is created by the government consistently adjusting poverty rates to correspond to inflation.
Insight 4 demonstrates trends in the prevalence of significant movie genres across the past 76 years. To get this insight, we counted the number of significant movies of each genre across those years. We decided that what made a movie significant is if there was overlap between its critical acclaim and its popularity. This was done with our HTML code. So, dramas were by far the most significant movie of the past 8 decades, representing 23% of the significant movies. Comedies, adventures, action, and romance were also among the most significant movies of the past century, all of which have been popular since the early days of cinema and are the most popular movies of today, so it makes sense that the most significant movies are among the most popular genres.
Insight 5 is a comparison between unemployment and genres of blockbuster films. For this insight, we created a data frame comparing the unemployment rate with movie genres for a given year to analyze the trends between the unemployment rate and movie genres of a given year. We analyzed the trends between these variables by looking at the similarities between unemployment trends and movie genre trends as depicted by Visual 8. We used these graphics to judge trend similarity and have included some of the more interesting relationships for discussion. One of the genres we found interesting was crime. We expected there to be an inverse relationship between crime and unemployment, with crime films performing better when the unemployment rate was low. We expected people to be more interested in watching crime movies when the risk of being victimized by crime was lower, such as when the economy is good. This graph depicts a weak inverse relationship between the two trends, with some of the peaks of one trend lining up with the low of the other. Drama also had no correlation with the economy, with drama being a very popular genre regardless of economic outlook. This makes sense as drama has proven to be the most popular genre across many of our insights, demonstrating its independence from economic influence. Prior to the 2010s, action had a close direct relationship to unemployment rate, with action movies being more popular when unemployment was high, indicating an audience interest in escapism and fantasy, with a hero protagonist when economic times are tough. However, from the 2010s onwards, with the trends and action appearing more similar to drama, with action movies experiencing a high popularity independent of economic trends. Comedy matches closely to the unemployment trendline, indicating a direct relationship between high unemployment and a high number of comedy blockbusters. This indicates that the public is more interested in seeing lighthearted films when the economic outlook is poor. This supports our hypothesis of people seeking to escape from a tough economic climate.
Brings us to our conclusions. Our greatest challenge, as mentioned previously, was the lack of available economic data, and to combat this, we created our own comprehensive data frame. So in regards to our hypothesis, there were correlations found between economic rises and decreases in certain movie genres. For instance, there was an inverse relationship found within comedies, which is specifically noted in Insight 5 regarding the unemployment rate, and there was no relationship found between certain genres such as drama. And there was even found that some genres, such as dramas, were independent of the economy, while as others were dependent. So what's next for us? We would be interested in knowing what music genres are influenced by the economy. So that's all for our presentation. Thank you so much for listening and for a great semester.